Leaf fans, Frankie. You can't just enjoy a win. You can't just take that incredible.
What are you talking to me?
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking to Leafs Nation in general. I'm talking to you guys. Okay, you guys got to just enjoy the win. You got to. Your buddy Mike Johnson on yesterday's show talking about how Leaf Nation had been waiting for one of their stars.
Super buddies. Did you hear that? We're super buddies.
Oh yeah, that's
now.
right. I've seen it. I've seen the Instagram posts. It's beautiful stuff. But your super buddy said it best. Leaf Nation had been waiting for this kind of performance from one of their stars. Austin Matthews comes through, and all the talk the next day is about how bad Mitch Marner was. In fact, Sheldon Keefe had to defend him a day later.
Mitch, even last night, didn't get on the sheet, but there's a few plays that he made at different times to advance the puck and get us out of trouble. That's important. It's this, the way the matchups roll right now. Those guys are taking on some tough responsibility playing against Pasternak, and have done a really good job of it. We had one mistake on the face-off last night, but aside from that, through 2 games, I've liked what we've gotten from that line. It's not going to be, each line's not going to roll every single night offensively. Their time will come in the series, but I like what they've done so far here defensively, and they're a big part of last night's win.
Good job by Keith to not specifically focus on Marner, focus on the line itself. But does Marner deserve any criticism after 2 games?
I think every player is open to criticism, especially when they have set the bar so high themselves, which Mitch Marner has done. At times, you can consider him one of the best right wingers in the NHL. He is on any given season. So when you go into the playoffs, you expect him to have those types of performances. Where Mitch Marner's game isn't meeting the expectations is he's not getting to the middle of the ice the way he normally does. And Mitch Marner, when he was at his best or is at his best, plays a fearless type of game. And you just don't see that from him right now. And so when the bar has been set at as high as he has, and you don't see it in the most important times of the season, of course you're going to be open to criticism. So what do you do in the meantime? Are you good on the penalty kill? Do you do those kinds of smaller, little intangible things to help your team? Of course you do. But we're looking for big moments come playoff time. The Florida Panthers, they own big moments right now. Whether it's Bobrovsky, whether it's Verhaeghe, overtime wins. You see that happening, and you're like, why doesn't that happen to my guys? Guys that get paid a lot of money to do a lot, you expect that. And so for Marner, Matthews buys him a little bit of time because we get the Matthews performance, but now you need the Marner performance at some point here, or the criticism is only going to continue to pile up.
We'll see what your super buddy has to say about that.
Yeah.
I wonder what your super buddy would say about Connor McDavid's Game 1 performance. 5 assists. Hard to put any criticism on that performance. Can the Kings contain number 97?
No.
You and I talk about the 1-3-1. You're already out on it. You and I talk about the 1-3-1 that the Kings play.
Yeah.
Any chance they could just stifle them like the old New Jersey Devils in the 90s?
No, you can't. We've seen enough sample size with McDavid against the Los Angeles Kings in the playoffs that would lead you to believe that they cannot stop him. And I would say that if you look at the way they're built down the middle of the ice, it's different this year. They've added Pierre-Luc Dubois. And on paper, you were going to go into Kopitar, Dubois, Phil Deneau, and you think, okay, now we have a little bit more down the middle of the ice. We are more equipped to handle Connor McDavid because, as you know, you're going to have to do it by committee. It can't just be a one-man show. But it still isn't the case. And Dubois hasn't lived up to expectations with Los Angeles. McDavid has taken his game to another level. And yet again, the Los Angeles Kings don't have an answer for McDavid. And about the 1-3-1, it's just a neutral zone system. If you're going to live and die by your neutral zone systems, you're almost making things regular at that point. The players who are really good matchup players, offensively or defensively, they do things that are irregular. You can't dumb everything down and say, this is our system, and we're going to stifle every player that we come across. It's just not going to happen.
Drew Doughty, 30 minutes of ice time on Game 2, maybe?
He's still got it.
He does. It's incredible.
Underappreciated defenseman this year?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
The guy was 28 minutes a game. It was crazy.
He's for me, I grew up just playing after Drew Doughty had come into the NHL. He was always the gold standard for the well-rounded, does everything really well defenseman. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. Game 2, Wednesday night in Edmonton. Thanks for this, Frankie. When we return, one of my super buddies, Todd Furman. talking about the NFL draft. That's next.